Trump's $3 trillion bomb. Could this cost Republicans control of the House? In a tense phone conversation on a Saturday night, Senator Thom Tillis, North Carolina, warned President Donald Trump that his proposed legislation, featuring significant cuts to Medicaid, could cost Republicans their majority in the House. He cautioned the president that such cuts might haunt Trump in a way similar to how President Barack Obama's promise about the Affordable Care Act, which guaranteed the right to keep one's doctor, backfired on him. But Trump decided to move forward regardless. As Tillis told the press the next day, "I hope he remembers the advice I gave him. If this bill passes as it stands, I'll be reminding him next year when we lose the House majority." But here's where it gets controversial. Ignoring the concerns of moderate Republicans, Trump and GOP lawmakers managed to pass a massive $3.4 trillion bill this Thursday. This legislation cuts taxes and federal spending, allocates billions for border security, detention centers, and defense, and demonstrates Trump's strong control over his party. However, in his rush to achieve a landmark legislative accomplishment and extend tax cuts introduced nearly a decade ago, Trump abandoned his earlier campaign promise not to alter healthcare policies, risking Republicans' hold on Congress. To fast-track the bill before Friday's deadline, Trump pressed Republican lawmakers to overlook the potential political fallout from removing Medicaid benefits while simultaneously increasing the national deficit. Trump's dismissive approach to lawmakers' objections and the bill's implications on Medicaid was evident when he said Republicans should avoid tampering with entitlements for electoral success. Yet during a meeting, a lawmaker emphasized that the bill directly affects Medicaid. And this is the part most people miss. Senator Susan Collins, Maine, and Tillis, both vulnerable Senate Republicans seeking re-election next year, voted against the bill. Tillis announced his decision to step down from re-election on Sunday. Representative Brian Fitzpatrick, Pennsylvania, representing a district won by Kamala Harris, also voted against the bill. On the flip side, other vulnerable House Republicans chose to support the bill. For example, Representative Richard Hudson, North Carolina, the chairman of the National Republican Congressional Committee, remains optimistic, believing that the Medicaid changes may become popular with voters. Here's a bold point. This instance highlights the complexity and internal conflicts within the Republican Party as they maneuver through legislative priorities and the potential risks to their majority. Could such policy moves alienate their voter base? What do you think about balancing fiscal responsibility with potential voter dissatisfaction? Feel free to share your perspective in the comments. While discussions swirled around the bill, the White House refrained from addressing specific inquiries about Trump's involvement. However, Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt applauded Trump for his success. She expressed, "Despite the critics and the panic, President Trump has delivered multiple victories for the American public." Now, reflecting on the earlier campaign promise made by Trump when he started his tenure, vowing no cuts to Medicaid, Social Security, or Medicare while enjoying the tax breaks, there's a stark turn as legislative changes introduce requirements for work to qualify for Medicaid, integrating new strategies to secure more Medicaid funds from the federal government. This shift stirred considerable debates among Senate Republicans, including close allies of the president. Some proponents saw increasing the cuts as essential to making business tax cuts permanent, despite opposition from pragmatic lawmakers worried about deep Medicaid cuts. How do you see this playing out for the GOP's future? What are your thoughts on balancing fiscal conservatism with voter satisfaction and entitlements? Share your views in the discussion below. As Senate deliberations progressed, Trump called Senator Lindsey Graham, North Carolina, requesting strategic office expansion, who suggested inviting Rand Paul and Kentucky for a golf session. Remarkably, Paul agreed to allow debate on the bill, but withheld his final support if the $5 trillion increase in the debt ceiling was removed. This adjustment opened a route for Republicans to continue pursuing their goals. Ultimately, despite the challenging negotiations, the Senate settled on doubling the fund to aid hospitals who's facing Medicaid cuts. Murkowski ultimately cast her vote in support, despite expressing dissatisfaction with the bill's overall impact on the nation. As the Senate grappled with the impending votes, discussions also focused on finding agreements to achieve Trump's vision for America, with plans potentially involving executive actions. The final intention was to ensure Trump's signature on the bill, consolidating a key triumph for the administration. What do you think? Will this huge bill redefine the political landscape and the party's future policies? Join the conversation below.